Hello again.
Hi, round two.
How was that earlier?
Great. That was like the perfect length and they got way more involved than they normally do, which might not be saying much, but they're quite shy. But yeah, so I feel like it went great.
Oh, great.
Loved it. So this group is a lot bigger, just in general, but also with workshop attendance. So normally I'm trying to think of, I don't know, last month it was a week before Thanksgiving. And so we didn't have, I think we had 30 attendance, but normally we get like 60. So it can be anywhere between then. But I'm guessing around 30 this time. So yeah, but these are the older girls, so they'll probably have more specific questions about college.
Mhm.
Especially like the juniors and seniors in high school. I'm hoping we'll have some pretty good questions for you.
Cool. I find it very interesting when people are sort of like, "How are you a CEO?" Like,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's sort of like I don't know, like, "How are you Spider?" And I'm like, I don't know. Does that sound ridiculous? It's sort of like, "Why are you right-handed?" Like,
Yeah, you're just like, that's just the way my trajectory in life took me. I don't
that
know.
sound weird?
No,
No. Okay. She's
no,
like,
not at
no,
all.
I don't know.
Girls, those younger girls ask some funny questions. Definitely. And they're very just like blunt. And so you're like, oh,
Hey,
okay.
I love it. I do these presentations on like how to build boards and stuff. And some of the questions that I get from people are hilarious. And I'm talking like these are like 60-year-old people,
Adults, yeah.
CEOs or whatever, corporate leaders. And they're sort of um, like, how's your thing? I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. All right. So yeah.
Like this is what we're working with. Great.
I think it's just interesting. I think it doesn't have anything to do with geography or, literally where people are. It's just sort of the questions where people are sort of like, well, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of fun. But yeah, so we're just gonna go in the same
How long?
just the same, yeah, like 20, 25, 30
Keep it
minutes.
short and quick.
Yeah.
And plus, if people want to get all freaky with it and whatever, they can always follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
do the girls do they do LinkedIn? Not so much.
They're supposed to. I tell them every single month that they need to get a LinkedIn. So I tell them to find the speakers on LinkedIn. That's like the challenge that I give them every month, is to find them and message them and be like, hey, I was there at the workshop. Thank you so much. Because I feel like that would be the easiest in to connect with all of our mentors and all of our Women Who Succeed members. But I don't know if they're actually doing it. I should probably follow up.
I also feel kind of creepy where I'm like, hey, 14-year-old, want to follow LinkedIn?
Well, then I'll do it.
Well, I'll put my stuff out there, but I was like, oh, I'll look this person up, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, no, you're good. I do that enough for the both of us, I think. I'm always like, ladies, I haven't seen you add me on LinkedIn yet, and we're friends. What are you doing?
Right. Which reminds me, are we? I bet we are.
Oh, we totally are.
I post a lot.
I just sent like a connect thing to you.
You did? Oh, okay. Okay, well, we're there. Yay. I post and share and like and stuff quite a bit because I figure it's nice to be able to work with industry and help in that way. So
yeah,
I need
to get on my LinkedIn game more.
And I do okay. I've got a few thousand followers, so
pretty good.
Decent. I also don't know what some of this crap is I'm reading. Like, okay, you have 500 plus connections. Okay.
You're like, I think that's good. That's fine.
I don't know. Okay. And you have 5,200 followers. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, like,
I don't know
have
the difference.
I
Yeah,
have no context. I'm like, is
same.
that a little? Is that a lot? Is that 12? I don't know what that means, you know?
All right, Ellery, we're good to let him in.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's LinkedIn is a whole different ballgame that I have yet to learn the rules of, but still fun. Still got to try it.
So fun.
Hi, ladies. So good to see you all. Thanks for being here. All right, let me share this with you. As always, getting started with some attendance. Oh wait, I will put that link in the chat while I'm thinking about it. There you go. Okay, fill out that link in or use the QR code. Don't forget that when you attend a workshop, we want to give you credit for attending. And in order to do so, you've got to fill out this form. It's just your first and last name. Please make sure to always put your last name. A few of you have the same name, so I want to make sure I'm giving the right person credit for coming to each workshop. Every time you attend a workshop and fill out the attendance form, we'll add your name into a drawing for $1,000 scholarship at the end of the year. So in April, right after our April workshop, is when I'm going to draw the name and let everyone know who the winner was. So come to as many workshops as you can so that you can get as many drawings and as many chances as you can to receive that scholarship. Let's see, a lot of people have come in since I started, so I will put it in the chat one more time. For those of you who just joined us, don't forget to fill this out. We'll take just a second. And then right after that, we are going to do our group picture that we do every single month. Don't act surprised. Please put your camera on so that we can take a really quick screenshot before we get started. Okay, so I will share that link again at the end just to be sure that everyone got it. I'll check the numbers as well of who's attended just to double check that you've all made it. But I will also now have screenshots to prove it now that you all will turn your cameras on so that I can take a quick screenshot. I've got two screens today. So you have to smile for a little extra, which I love to see. I know you hate it, but I appreciate you doing it. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure everyone's in here. Okay, please turn your cameras on if you can. I'm gonna take the picture now. Smile, 1, 2, 3. Okay, second page. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're so cute. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. One more time, just for good measure. Don't forget to fill out that attendance form I just threw up in the chat. Awesome. Hi, everyone. I feel like it's been a minute, but at the same time, I feel like I just saw you in the November workshop. These workshops always sneak up on me. I don't know about you, but I'm glad you're all here. I know that this is a crazy time of year with finals, with closing up school before winter break, general holiday cheer, and all the many plans that come with the holidays, whatever holidays you celebrate. So I'm extra grateful that you're here tonight to spend some time with us. I have great news for you. It's going to be a shorter workshop tonight than it normally is. And that's one, because I know you're all busy. And two, because I want to use the last half of our workshop to give you a chance to reapply for next year. And I'm going to talk to you about this before Cheryle, our speaker, starts, because I don't want you to bounce right after she leaves without hearing my little spiel about this, okay? So I will talk about it after Cheryle's all finished as well. But I would love if all of you would consider reapplying for next school year to be in the Mentee program again. And so be thinking about that during the workshop. We have our priority registration open right now for current mentees. So if you remember from last year when we were doing applications, whenever it was that you applied, you most likely had to schedule an interview with a Women Who Succeed member or team member. So it might have been me, it might have been one of my coworkers. So with that, can everyone understand me? Is anyone else lagging? Okay, Emily, you might want to log off and then come back on and see if that helps. But if not, we're recording it, so I'll send you the recording and that shouldn't lag afterwards. Anyway, so if you remember, you probably had to interview with one of us to join the program. And if you apply between today and January 1st, you won't have to interview. I already know you. We already know that you're part of the squad. And so you won't have to interview again if you apply within the next, I think it's 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, 2.5 weeks. So if you apply before January 1st on our website, you won't have to interview. You'll just get automatically accepted and to do it next year as well. So please be thinking about it. There are those links for you. We're going to talk about it a little bit at the end. If you have any questions, save them for the end and I can answer them. We can talk about it as well. But before then, I want to introduce you to our speaker today, and her name is Cheryle Caplinger. She is a Women Who Succeed member, and she is a mentor to some of your fellow mentees. And so just to give her a short introduction, she is the Executive Director of Strategic Partnerships at Dixie State University, which is now Utah Tech University in Southern Utah. And she works with university leadership and deans to establish and manage high-level mutually beneficial partnerships with organizations and companies. So our organization, Success in Education, has gotten to work with her, not only with Women Who Succeed, but also with our esports tournament, which we had down there a few weeks ago, which was super fun. And the collaborations are selected to support Utah Tech's mission, which is to expand authentic student learning experiences and bring new resources to the university and provide insights about academic programming and student career readiness. So she has lived all over the country. She hopes that Utah is where she stays for her career. And she has a bachelor's degree from Ashland University in Ohio. Her master's degree is from Northern Illinois University, just outside of Chicago. And then she is a member of a bunch of different associations like the Public Relations Society of America, Association of Fundraising Professionals, the American Marketing Association. She serves on a few boards and as chairs for ethics and diversity. She is a very busy lady, so we're so glad that she's here with us tonight. So she served as CEO for a few large-scale nonprofit organizations in both Alabama and Minnesota, and she was the Director of Development for the University of North Carolina Health Foundation. And she was also the Executive Director of Marketing Communications for the College of Engineering at Virginia Commonwealth University. Also, fun fact, she is a former boxing instructor. So she enjoys exceeding expectations while also continuing to broaden her education. So if you remember from the workbook, she is here to speak to us about higher education and all the many questions that might come with that. And as someone who works at a university, she can offer lots of really great insight for you. So I encourage you to pay attention, listen closely, and think of any questions or anything that might come up for her at the end, because she will be doing a little Q&A session. Please stay engaged and interact with her as much as possible. She is a great resource, and this is a great opportunity to get to know her and just hear from some of her wisdom. So Cheryle, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. And then suddenly my face is huge. Oh my gosh, there I am. All right. I don't do a ton of social media, but I do LinkedIn and I do it a lot. So there is my LinkedIn, if you want to connect with me, follow me, whatever. And I do connect with people on a regular basis. I am from a very large family, and I was born at home by accident on a Saturday. I don't usually tell people this, but I was born at home on a Saturday. And my mom had already had a bazillion children before me. So when I was born, she was like, we've got plenty of time to go to the hospital. We're fine. Let's get another cup of coffee. So then I just kind of, and when I was born, the ambulance didn't come. It was the fire department. And they said, congratulations, you have a boy. So my mom said, oh, wonderful. Now I have a Timmy and a Tony. So she named me Anthony. And we get to the hospital. And by that time, it's afternoon. That matters. And they say, here's your baby. And she says, it's missing a little something that was there before. And they said, no, it's everything's there. Your little bracelets match. And she said, well, okay, well, I'm going to name this baby Cheryle. And I'm going to call her Cheryle with an E because she has a little something extra. And they said, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. We're going to need to, we can't reissue the birth certificate. We're going to have to do a legal name change because it's after 12 and we've already submitted the stuff. So my legal name is Anthony Caplinger, but my mom spelled it Cheryle with an E because I have a little something extra. So, woo, fun fact. So random something about me of what my name is and all that. So that just kind of set me up for life. So there we go. As Sydney mentioned, and thank you for that fantastic intro, I'm the Executive Director of Strategic Partnerships for Utah Tech University, formerly Dixie State, and I also lead the project management for our innovation district that's coming on board. In case you didn't know, Utah Tech is the name. It's not Utah Technical, it's not Utah Technology. So it's not like one of the vocational schools. It's more along the polytechnic model. So fun fact as well. So that kind of feeds into a whole element of what we provide here at the university. And as Sydney said, what I do is I talk with organizations about their wants and needs. And then I come back and say, okay, what does that look like for the university side and how can we fulfill that? So Intermountain Health says we need this, 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 and this. We need space, we need talent, we need research, we need innovation, we need all the things, right? And then I help coordinate that on our side so that it plays out in large scale for our curriculum, our advisory boards, the ways that we work together, how that influences internships and apprenticeships, the way that we do job placements and whatnot. So that's kind of the realm of what I do. So it's an interesting position. We moved here most recently from Raleigh and Durham in North Carolina because my husband is a theater guy. So he has moved us everywhere all over the country with these different things he gets. And then I am a leader in various organizations. So then I can bring my skills to the fold, as it were. So that's what I do whenever we move to a place. And as Sydney said, my hope is that we never move again. So Brandon is now tenure track, so I hope to be at the university forever and always. So I have a thing I shared with a group earlier today, in case you want to. I'm putting a little thing in here in the chat because I don't know if you know your majors, or if you're like, I'm 3 years in, I'm good, or if you're sort of like, I don't know what that looks like for me, the way that you're progressing through your education. I believe that education is personal, whether that's for you taking a year off, that you want to do a couple badges and some credentials, if it means that you want to get your associates, it's a variety of whatever it is that you want. So it's very personal of what that looks like for you. Back in the day, it used to be sort of like, you need to go to college or you're not going to get a good job. And some of that is true. You know, if you want to be a licensed lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, there are certain things that your employers require. But there's also an element of things for yourself, being someone who's continually learning, someone who is taking these things on and seeing how that might engage with your personal self. Like we saw in the workbook, there's benefits to continuing at your education, whatever that might look like. You know, that just means that you're going to earn more, you're a better thinker, if you're, able to kind of move yourself forward. And then of course there's the ever popular, you also make more money. So that's good. I also believe in trying to equal the pay gap between genders. So in the hopes that we can be out there even more and being thought leaders to what that is. So as you're thinking about what you want to do, what that might look like, and you're sort of like, well, I'm kind of exploring things. The Princeton Review has this link that I just shared in the chat of these different things that are considered the top college majors. Now, this is something that came out about a year or so ago. And number one is computer science, but number two is communications. So you go right back and forth between this thing that's based in STEM, and then you've got this other side that comes from, of course, the arts and health. And then you go to political science and business and economics. Then you've got English language and literature, into psychology, nursing, chemical engineering, and biology. It's like a real gambit of like from beginning to end. So I think that's a really interesting resource that you're kind of like looking about what is popular and maybe things that you want to consider. So I also saw this thing that I think is interesting. This is a few years old, but this is the Brookings Institute. This article is Why Go to College? And I think that it's interesting about some of those areas. And I think that most of us are in college, but there's those things of like, what does that really look like? And when I get done, what do I want to have for myself? Now, what I do is I work with companies, industry, nonprofits, whatever, find out what they're looking at and see if we're focused in the right direction. So the analogy I use is if we're down here looking at the railroad, and we've kind of got our head in the sand, and people are like, we don't do railroads anymore. We do jets. We do things in the sky. Then we can realign ourselves to get our heads out of the sand. So, oh, good. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this because that's what it looks like in the world. When I went to school, what I studied was not what I needed afterwards. I even went and got my master's right after because I was like, there has to be more. And when I got out, I was ready to do that. And I was like, wait, that's what I learned was not what this is. Like what I learned was from a bunch of old stodgy guys with like elbow patches, right? And then when I got out, I was like, that's not what this is at all. So the way that we are working as an education institution and as education as a whole is trying to look a little bit more about what it's like to be in the world versus just, that old, guy lecturing from the front of the room, right? So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see here. And this is something that we have from the university about choosing the right college. So let's see here. There we go. Of course, because we are down in St. George. Any people go to St. George? You guys familiar with St. George? When my husband said that he got a job in Dixie, I had no idea where that was. Turns out that I'm an ISOM and I'm from here and had no idea. Even the table that is in the president's office was made by my granddad, and I can see his grave right across the street. So St. George is a really amazing, beautiful town. While you guys have a little bit of snow, we're in 42 degrees right now, and it's gorgeous and lovely and very pretty and has lovely red rocks. So you've got a different temperature and environment down here. And of course, we're close to all the parks and whatnot. So we look at this as a place to kind of continue our adventure. It's kind of as we call it, and specifically about what that looks like for a college side. So as I say, I believe in college being a personal decision about what that might look like for whether or not that's including your, bettering yourself individually, what that looks like for you going out, not just from learning, but going out and being there in the environment. What does that look like? What is that value proposition? If I study this, what's going to become of me, not just professionally, but personally. And then how you want to be involved in your community, whatever that means, right? So I think those are important elements that we should look at. And so something that was very important, I think, is to be able to get that individual attention, whether that looks to our mental health or what we're trying to accomplish as a person, that education should provide to us. Not just the tools that we need in order to turn the knob, but how are we bettering ourselves? And that's something that we look at Utah Tech. And there's a lot of different experiences at different institutions for what that looks like for them. What we are all about, we are about working with industry, getting those real life experiences. So not the, sage from the stage that I was talking about earlier, but actually going out and working with those companies firsthand. So we call that active learning, active life. And that is our motto as an open, comprehensive, inclusive polytechnic university. So we have resources for people to be able to kind of find that space and what that can look like for them. So I think that's kind of interesting. And then I have one more resource I'm going to put here in the chat, and that is for things that you might want to do that while you're in college that'll help you. Things that you want to look at, of things you might want to be engaged in. So that's somewhat of an interesting opportunity to connect to. So that's kind of the beef and meat and biff of all the things. So I'm curious if anybody has any questions, comments, things that they would like to know. I'm an open book. Okay, people are typing. So while they're typing, I have a pet beagle. She's 7 years old. My husband brought her home one day and was like, responsibility. I also had 2 bunnies, and I was a boxer, so it's a lot of bees. So doing a lot of training in the ring in Chicago, being a boxing instructor there. So that was a lot of fun. I believe in continuing to learn and have different kinds of education. I've never lived in Delaware, and I haven't lived in Alaska, and I hope not to move again. So you guys are thinking about questions. What made you choose your career? Okay, let me start with that one. What made me choose my career? I really enjoy connecting with people and being able to make a difference on a large scale way. So I wanted to be on a large stage to do that. I literally interpreted that when I was in high school, that I needed to be an actress. Like I needed to go out there and like, oh, look, I'm going to have this huge effect in people. But I didn't get, it wasn't like a back and forth. So I wanted more. So I like to be able to be a chameleon in how I work with people based on what they need. So it depends on what people enjoy. So I have a very eclectic background as a leader and as someone who brings different things to the table on a strategic way. And I really enjoy being able to work in institutions that make a difference. So higher education, yay. So that's how I got in that realm. And being able to work with organizations again to make big change, so that working in strategic partnerships or being a CEO helped answer that. Okay, what's the best way to find active learning experiences? I think it's important that you, if you're, for example, in a college setting, that you work with your professors, your friends, and your career services group about what does it look like for you to have apprenticeships or to be involved outside of the classroom, or how that experience actually ties into the classroom so that it is in fact the experiential learning part, and how that looks for you to your timeline and your pocketbook. Is that something that you can take time off of school? Is it part of your education? Do you get credits for it? How does that actually look? So I would recommend looking at those 3 resources of being able to actually make that happen. Okay, what advice do you wish you had received when you were in school? Do everything. I wish someone would have said, just go for it. Learn how to scuba dive and speak that language and do all the things to really get a very broad sense of what I wanted to do, because I was very much focused on, I want this thing and I want to get out and I want to do this professionally. I wish I would have done different things in my youth that I didn't do. I'm able to do some of them now, but I wish that I would have had an even broader, a broader experience of different things. So I went in and I knew what my major was. I got 2 bachelor's degrees at the same time. I went right out and I got my master's. I wish that I would have done even more so that I would have more experiences. I understand there's sort of that idea of, that you shouldn't be what is it? A fool of all things, and you should be a master of one. But I think it's, we are well-rounded people, so we should look at those in a variety of things. Okay, what do I love about Utah Tech? It is a place that answers industry need in a way that is coming at it through fresh eyes. Now, I've worked at UNC and I've worked at Virginia Commonwealth University and I've been all these other institutions, and they're fantastic. They're great. They are also coming from a place where it is steeped in this place like College of William and Mary. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So they're trying to fit that all together with their history. Now, Utah Tech is both an old and a young institution, right? It started out as Dixie Academy in college and started out as this place that you would go and get your associates and then move on to something else. What I like is the way that it's able to answer those things in the community, and you can kind of do everything. Plus, it's flippin' beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely amazing here. When my husband said, we're going to move to Dixie, and I didn't know where that was, and he like turned his phone around, he's like, this is where we're going. It was phenomenal. What I don't like is it's 118 degrees in July, but hey, take your pickings, right? So I would love for you all to come and see us sometime if you get the chance. It's nice to be able to show people what's happening down here and what's going on. So if you guys ever want to reach out to me, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I believe in being able to just reach everyone in every form, whatever that might be. And just let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. And if there aren't any more questions, I will turn it back over to Sydney.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cheryle, and great questions. To those of you who asked, like Cheryle said, if you have any follow-up questions or want campus tour or anything like that, I would highly recommend that you find Cheryle on LinkedIn and shoot her a message, let her know that you were at the workshop and that you're part of Women Who Succeed, and you can get connected that way. I'm always going to tell you to use LinkedIn, especially for our workshop speakers. So I think that it's such a powerful tool, and it's going to be a great way for you to build out your network of Women Who Succeed women, which is why we're here, is to help you with that network. And LinkedIn is the best way to keep track of that. So Cheryle just put her LinkedIn profile link in the chat. So please be sure to utilize that. She is an awesome resource, especially if you're down in Southern Utah. Last time I was there, she gave me a great recommendation for a restaurant and we had a great time. So even if you're just hanging out down there, you can hit her up. But that is going to be our workshop, but don't go anywhere. Don't you exit out yet. I'm not done. But here is the Mentee attendance form. There's a few of you who have not logged your attendance yet for this month. So there's that link for you one more time. And then I want to open it up and see I'll just stick around here. Like, you don't have to sit around for the Q&A portion if you don't have specific questions, but I really, really, really want to encourage each of you to reapply to become a mentee again next year. Our priority registration is open right now through January 1. You can skip the interview process. I just put those links back in the chat. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a minute to answer those. Or you can always shoot me an email, shoot me a text, whatever. You know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions about that. But Cheryle, thank you so much again. I so appreciate you spending your evening with us and giving us some of your insight. And we just really appreciate having you. You're awesome. You're a great part of our Women Who Succeed team. So thank you.
Oh, sure. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for this invitation. I encourage all of you to look at those resources that I shared. And, when we're talking to employers, you might find this interesting. Like, what are they looking for? And then you might think of like, oh, they're looking for people who want Python, or they want this thing or not. So it's interesting that what they're looking for, this is from a recent study that we did here. So what they're looking for, in case you're curious, get out your little notepad here. They're interested in people to hire that show professionalism, dependability, a strong work ethic, and accountability for work. Ooh, I can do those, check. They're looking for teamwork and positive attitude and interpersonal skills, and they're looking for people who have great customer service. I thought that was interesting because even when we talk to some of these tech companies or whatever, they all go back into these like Franklin Covey type skills about they have to know how to be interpersonal. It's that I thought that was really interesting. So maybe you guys would find that as a resource for you. So thought that was an interesting little note.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, very interesting. You don't need to know Python, which is great news for me because I nearly failed that class when I was getting my undergrad. So appreciate that. All right. So before we finish up, does anyone have any questions about reapplying for the new year? Did anyone not get the email that I sent out this morning with all of the details and the FAQ information that went out at 8 a.m. this morning? If so, I can resend it to you. Anything? Tony?
Yeah, for some reason, I get every other email, but the scholarship email they disappear. So
Dang it. Okay. I'll make a note of it. I'll send it to you again. Okay. Any questions? If you have anything, you can email me. I will be here to help you. But please, please, please reconsider reapplying because we would love to have you again. Especially you coming to these workshops shows that you're trying to get everything out of this program as you can. Next year, we're going to have new content, new workshop speakers, new resources for you. We'll put you in a new mentorship group. It's a great opportunity so you don't have to worry about it being the exact same every single year. Also, just because you're in the program this year doesn't mean that you get reapplied next year automatically. You have to do it every year so that I know you still want to be a part of it. So keep that in mind. But until then, happy holidays to everyone. Good luck with any finals that you have, and have just such a great and safe month and a half before I see you next at the end of January for our workshop. But have a great night.